Well, hello and a very warm welcome back to the TNC Podcast. Norwich City continue to be one of the informed sides on the road, Chris Reeve.
If only we could win at home, that'd be nice.
A convincing display at the weekend. Very unfortunate not to get all 3 points.
Matey, blooming heck. We held on for dear life, didn't we?
Well, it's remarkable, isn't it? We've conceded in the 96th minute and it's still somehow a smash and grab.
Do you know, right, this is a movie, you know, I like a movie link. It reminded me very much of The Lion King at the weekend, right? Where everything's all happy, you know, we're going along with it. Oh, here we go. It's another great Norwich away point. So, yeah, you know, lovely, lovely, lovely. All of the nice Disney music's going on. And then there's the scene in the gorge where Scar is holding on to Mufasa, and he's holding on, and he's like, and you know it's going to happen. You know we're going to concede, and then there you go. See you later. So I don't know why a Lion King reference came to mind there, but it did. You know, we were clinging on for dear life, weren't we? I've provided the stats.
Well,
Jack.
look, let's not lose our rouse on this game too quickly. We will be reflecting on the 1-1 draw against Coventry. It's a big week for Norwich City. Wrexham at home. Some people calling it the Deadpool derby.
Must win.
This weekend. We're also going to be taking a look ahead to what's actually a really important next 3 weeks before another international break. And we'll be, of course, answering all of your Twitter questions. And there are some juicy ones. So stick around.
Absolutely.
Coventry 1, Norwich 1, top line stats. 64% possession to Coventry compared to 36%. Expected goals, Coventry 4.02 to Norwich City's 0.15.
Yeah.
28 shots to 4. To be fair, only 4 of those were on target for Coventry. Coventry had 7 big chances. We had 0. It was as one-sided as you can get. But Norwich got a point.
Yeah, and that's the only stat that matters, isn't it, Jack, ultimately? And I don't know, I've seen a lot of bedwetting over it. But actually, and I think I even said it on the podcast, actually, Jack, I said, like, you know, if you give me a point away at Cov now, you take that all day long.
Yeah.
You take that all day long. And, you know, there's a lot of the new thing that managers like to say is, oh, well, they're further along in their journey than us, right? But to be fair to Manning, they are.
Yeah.
Lampard's been there now. He's got those boys playing some really, really good football. And at home, they will be one of the toughest teams to beat at home this season. So I understand that we, you know, lost it. We'll go into it, you know, about how not lost it, sorry. It felt like a loss. We drew it in a disappointing fashion. But at the same time, to go to that place, you know, smash and grab vibes, I don't know what fans, you know, expect really. I still think, Jack, it's so incredibly early, 5 games early, in fact, to be making, you know, big black and white remarks about this Norwich City side. I think we're still developing as a team. Those 12 players, you know, obviously warped by the 4 goalkeepers, I know, but you know, still we've essentially signed a whole new side, right? They're still working out how and where and when to run, to go, and to how do we defend together. Although, to be fair, that's been very good. We'll talk about that. You know, how do we attack together? When do we run? When do we? So I think it's going to take time, and I think I've decided in my head. I don't know about you, Jack. We'll get onto it, but I don't think we can kind of be like, right, this is what this Norwich City side are, and this is how they are, and this is what they're going to be this season until we're 10 games in. That's where I'm at personally. I think that Cov game was a one-off, and I was really reassured, Jack, that Liam Manning came out straight away, and he said the same thing. He really did say the same thing in a different way, obviously. It wasn't like Liam Manning came in and was like, cool, yeah, we really deserved to win that. We were the better side. He didn't do any of that bollocks. He actually said, cool, Bloomin' that wasn't good today, really. So that was encouraging for me.
I think for me, Chris, I mean, we've been doing this podcast a very long time, and I can't recall a period where we've been going, the performance wasn't great, but we've still got something out of it. It's certainly for the last 3 seasons, under Wagner, under Johannes, even under Dean Smith to an extent, it's like, we've been the better side and we've not got all 3 points. So to flip it, I'm actually quite enjoying it. I'm going, okay, yeah, we weren't at our best. Yeah. It wasn't the finest performance.
But we got a draw away from home.
But there were positives.
Yeah.
That defensive line is looking really united. New centre-back pairing in Darling and Medic. They look like they've really formed a bond.
Yes.
Kovacevic. I mean, there were some that were quite critical of that signing because they'd seen the recent form and the highlights reel didn't look great. He looks like a really superb goalkeeper. And again, actually, if we're looking at this, just as important as Josh Sargent this season. Portsmouth won us the game. Blackburn won us the game. Here meant that we didn't lose the game. Some huge saves. I mean, they've 28 shots. That needs to be reiterated. So, is this side perfect at the moment? No.
Agreed.
But we're going on the road.
But it's not bad.
And we're not losing games. No, I don't think it's bad.
I know, but I feel like from what I've seen, and again, I don't know, maybe it's a social media thing, maybe. I think the reality, I think in real life, you know, you're in the away end or, you know, you're at Carrow Road and there's a lot of good faith, a lot of optimism, a lot of support for what they're seeing and what's going on. It just seems like in some corners of social media, I'm looking at it and people are moaning so much as if we're like, you know, down near the bottom of the table, but we're nowhere near that. There is fact. We are better than what we were under Yanisov Turup, in my opinion. Sorry, fact. In my opinion. Away from home,
we're more
fact.
We're more effective.
Away from home, fact. We're better than what we were under Thorpe last season. I think we've already. I think we've surpassed our wins total already, haven't we? Away from home versus last season because we only won 3 away last season. Yeah, I think we're more effective, Jack. Look, it sounds very, you know, Brexit football-y and quite old-fashioned, but I'm with you, mate. If you're going to play shit, but you come out of a game away at home at Cov and you get a point, happy days. Take that all day long, especially at this early stage of the season. If we're seeing performances like that consistently, you know, after these first 10 games, I would also be making some similar, not very negative, but similar noises of, oof, it's not ideal. But at the end of the day, you know, the only stat that matters, which I know is cliche, but it's true, 1-1. Happy days. And by the way, we were close to daylight robbery. Daylight robbery. We were so
we were
so
Harry Darling
close.
clearance away.
And I'm going to talk about that now. Like, I'm gutted for Harry because he has been the signing of our summer.
100%.
I think, you know, maybe. I think, you know, keeping Sarge would be second, you know, closely followed by Big Mad Vlad maybe. But Darling has been impeccable. So I was gutted that he made the error. He'll be gutted that he made the error. But, you know, you let him off, don't you? Because it's one mistake so far. Unfortunately, it led to a goal. Even their goal, mate, like it's kind of just trickled in, and it's kind of just like it was almost like a Simeon Jackson versus Derby at home, like off his shin or whatever. It was crap, wasn't it? But you know, look, Cov had all the chance in the world. They didn't take any, and everyone's like, we rode our luck, and we didn't deserve anything from that, and da. Yeah, but it didn't happen. Like, so many people are speaking hypotheticals, Jack.
But
it didn't happen.
Yeah, if we flip this, and there were so many performances, particularly at Carrow Road last season, where we were the side with 65% possession, and we were the side with 25 shots, and we've walked away.
Yeah.
And we were always going, say it was a Plymouth or someone like that. I don't know who
it wasn't Plymouth.
It wasn't Plymouth. We battered them. But we were going, cool, they were effective. Cool, didn't they defend well? Wish we could do that.
Yeah.
Well, we're the side doing
and now we're doing that.
NCFC numbers. Norwich City blocked 15 shots against Coventry, the most they've got in the way of, as a team, in any game in the last 15 years. Yeah. Last season, no Norwich City player blocked 5 or more shots in a match.
Yeah.
Harry Darling, 6, and Jakov Medic, 5, managed to do so against Coventry. Yeah. I want to give praise to these centre-backs, right? Because yes, it wasn't pretty. Yes, we had to soak up pressure. Yes, Coventry dominated the game. But in terms of defensive performances,
that
was right up there from Darling,
brilliant.
from Medic, from Kovacevic. And let's add in Kellen Fisher and Crosene as well, who are part of that defensive line. I think we'll get on to Jakov Medic later, but Kovacevic and Darling, both summer signings, have started the season excellently.
Mate, they've already formed a pretty formidable championship partnership, haven't they? And I said it in the last pod and I'll repeat it. I think what we're seeing is the second coming of the Malky-Craig Fleming partnership.
That's a big claim.
No, I think
that's a big claim.
I know, but I think that's what we're seeing here. I think Malky is perhaps the Medic in terms of size and physical stature, and Flem is obviously more Harry Darling. But without to be fair to Craig, he wasn't really a threat from corners as far as I remember. No offense, Craig. I've had him on the pod. Great guy, by the way. Look, the defence looks great, but then also the connection with the goalkeeper as well seems to be working. The camaraderie, the togetherness, and I think, Jack, just the confidence that this is emitting and is rubbing off on each other, and the energy. And I know that's like all of the intangible, soft stuff, if you like. But that is the stuff that I see with the eye test and go, yeah, that looks good to me. I like that. They're the first names on your team sheet now. It's almost like everyone laughs about, my golden triangle of, Wesley, Grant Holt and Chris Martin back in our League One season. I also think we've now got that in our defence as well with Kovacevic, however I'm pronouncing his name, Big Mad Vlad, still not there, Vlad, sorry. Medic and Darling, it's that way round, isn't it? But it is so strong. It's such a strong triangle between those three. I love it. And just a word on Kellen as well. Actually, I felt for Kellen a bit the weekend.
He was exposed.
Yeah, I felt like obviously, don't get me wrong. It wasn't a perfect performance. Not going to sit here and pretend it was, and he'll know that. But at the same time, it was just a constant onslaught of attacks partly because I don't know whether it's the formation or the system, but I just personally looked at Ante and he just didn't do enough defensive work for me. So I just wanted to add that into the mix. But yeah, overall, Jack, I think the blocked shots stat that you've raised there from the brilliant NCFC numbers is a good one, because last season there were times where we weren't throwing ourselves at shots. Yeah. We weren't. Yeah. It just wasn't happening, which sounds mental, but people should remember that. Let's think back to last season to get some perspective. If you're feeling negative or slightly concerned at what you're seeing so far, look back to last season's highlights after some of our matches. Yeah. Our defence was awful.
I agree. And I think that brings it into man of the match shouts, right?
Yeah.
Medic and Kovacevic, we've just had a say there. You could probably add Harry Darling. He's probably taken himself out of the discussion because of that unfortunate error at the end. Medic or Kovacevic, for you, who edged it?
I'm going to go... I was really, really happy with Jakov Medic. I think it was his best performance in a Norwich City shirt. Yeah. But yet again... I'll go Big Mad Vlad for my man of the match, Jack, because there was two particularly impressive saves. Again, big saves in big moments of the game where if they go in, it's inevitable that that we can see 3 or 4. Well, or maybe I'm wrong actually, because we've got Big Mad Vlad. Brilliant saves. Coming up off the surface quickly to push it past the post. Big strong hands. I love Big Mad Vlad as a character, but I'm just so pleased we signed him, and I posted it on X after the game, Jack, and I'll say it again. I actually think he's has been as important as Josh Sargent to this Norwich City side this season. Yeah. He has kept us. He not only has he meant that we've not lost games, he's also the reason why we've won games as well. I love him. I'm so pleased we've signed him. So for me, he was my man of the match.
Yeah, Kovacevic was brilliant. I think a nod for Jakov Medic, because the first couple of games, I think Watford and Millwall in particular, I think it was Watford.
Yeah, that first home game.
I remember looking at him going, that one, like, there's something in there. Mm-hmm. Is he a bit slow? Mm-hmm. Has he got the awareness? Has that form where he ultimately got loaned out to the Bundesliga from Ajax, is that carried over? Actually, I think what's really pleased me is his ability to learn quickly. Because I agree, I think that was his best performance. I think he's forming that partnership with Darling, which we haven't seen at Norwich for a long while in terms of a fixed centre-back partnership where you just know that they will be the two on the team sheet. So that really pleases me. He's tall, he's strong, and actually his ability to get in the right positions, throw his body in the way, has improved so much.
And Jack, to back you up in the man of the match debate here, what an assist for Kvist Gordon, right? To pick your head up it's difficult. I think fans, including himself, we forget this, right? gone are the days now where a defender just needs to defend. It's expected that you bring the ball up the pitch, you get your head up.
Yeah.
In Ben Gibson's defence, obviously, he had some tough games in a Norwich City shirt. But what Gibbo did really well is when he came forwards with the ball, picked his head up and tried to find that forward pass. Obviously, then the team was set up in a way in which that became very difficult. But Yakov is clearly capable of that. Harry Darling is capable of that, of course, as well. But Medic, it was a great assist for Kvistgården, wasn't it?
Yeah, brilliant from Medic. So let us know if there's any other shouts
for man of
the match down in the comment section. Yeah, let's talk about the attacking sense.
And before we do that, hashtag of the pod, I'm putting it in at this point.
Okay.
Monster Medic.
I think that's the second appearance of the season so far.
Hashtag Monster Medic.
Monster Medic.
That's the hashtag of the pod. Share it all over social media and we'll share them all as a thanks for your support.
Kvistgården.
Yeah. First goal in a Norwich City
Huge
shirt.
fan of Chris Gorum saying Chris Gorum. That gave me huge amounts of joy. I was driving on Saturday, so listened to the entire 90 on Radio Norfolk. I must say, as I always do, brilliant coverage from Radio Norfolk.
Of course.
Jed Steer on
Co-Coms.
I think he's obviously former goalkeeper. What a goalkeeper he was for Norwich City. I remember watching him at West Brom away. Brilliant goalkeeping performance. I think he skewed it even more, and every other word was Kovacevic. So I was like, how many shots are Coventry having?
A lot.
But yeah, a shout out to the guys at Radio North. I guess we could include you in that because just wonderful coverage. Kvistgården, goal.
Yes.
We've got it.
Yeah.
And I think actually kind of overlooked because of the nature of the game and the defensive contributions. That felt like a big goal for Kvistgården because the longer it goes on for attackers, the more it becomes a thing, right?
Monkeys off your back now.
And it was a nice finish as well.
Yeah, and weirdly, I'm making this about Sargent to begin with. I think what was the stat? It was mental. It was like Sargent had 13 touches the entire game or something.
Well, should we have sold him? I mean, he's now not scoring goals.
Right, let's not be silly, Jack. But it just shows that those attackers had barely anything. Like, it was feeding off scraps. And so Kvistgården had barely anything, really struggled to, find opportunities in the game. And that's not me doing him down. And so, to finish that, it was a chance. It was really a half chance.
It wasn't a clear cut.
No, I know. But that's more impressive, Jack. As you say, as time goes on, you think, not sure. I still think he's getting up to speed in terms of the intensity of the championship, the physicality of the championship. I think there possibly is a little injury niggle there, maybe. I don't know that definitively. We now obviously know about the fact that he was feeling his knee or something, so we're waiting to hear news on that at time of recording. But what I loved about it, Jack, obviously Yakov Medic, feeds a brilliant ball through, very impressive assist for a defender to make. But then I was so impressed because Matthias didn't look at the goal once. You watch it back, he didn't look at the goal once. He didn't. He was just so aware of where it was. And the first thing he does is his first touches, he kind of almost scoops it with his right foot to take it away. He knows where the defender's going to be. It was really natural. It was very, very natural within his subconscious. Right, this is where the defender's going to be. Yeah, I'm going to take it. I'm going to create space for myself with his right foot, and then to finish it with with his left in the manner that he did. It wasn't particularly fast. It wasn't. It kind of almost like half sort of bounced on the ground as well. But that just shows. And that's a compliment to Matthias. I thought it was an excellent finish. Great to see the flip for the first time as well. Not ideal, Matthias, when you've got a bit of a knee thing going on. But no, I'm buzzing for him. I'll repeat. He's going to be such an asset for this football club. What a signing! What a signing! The fact that we've got Matthias Kvistgården and Sargent, because I was thinking we were just going to have Matthias. It's good news.
Sorry, I was chuckling there because you were sort of acting like you were playing football and swinging legs, and I looked down and you've got your big Norwich City slippers on, which I'd love to see Kvistgården have a run out in the Norwich City slippers and see if he could still finish.
It's not an ad, but Norwich City, if you do want to send us more, slippers, then I do need a new pair.
That front, we'll call it a front four: Kvistgården, Diallo, Sargent, Sinats. There wasn't a huge amount of output against Coventry, and there wasn't a huge amount of output, I guess, really against... Actually, no, that's unfair. Blackburn and Pompey, we've created chances.
Yes, correct.
And lots of them. Home, we've struggled a little bit. does something need to change there? And I'm not. Well, I am in the very nature of it singling someone out, but it's not a personal thing.
Okay.
I've not seen enough from Cianats this season, and that concerns me a little bit.
Okay. Well, I think I'll start by saying I think both wingers weren't at it.
I agree.
I think both wingers weren't at it. I also thought Diallo didn't do enough in that game either. But then I don't think they had enough opportunity on the ball. I don't think we saw them really run at Cov anywhere near enough at all. In fact, I can't really remember a moment where they were really running at their back line, which probably says a lot about my memory. So let me know if I'm wrong on that. Look, I love Diallo. I'm also a big advocate for Ante Cianats, and I think some of the criticism has been way over the top, and I think he's going to have a really good season for us still, Jack. But, however, things change. And I saw the performance against Cov, and I thought, you need a break. And I think it's now time to switch him for Matthias. That'd be good. Matthias Jurasek. I'm quite up for a bit of Matej Jurasek now. I think it's a good game to start him against Wrexham as well. That's not me being complacent to Wrexham. I know they're a good. They'll be difficult to beat in moments. I think Ante needs a little break now, and that's not me writing him off at all. I just think it happens when you've had a few games where the goal contributions haven't been there. You probably need to mix it up.
And I still get the feeling that formation doesn't get the best out of him. I don't think he's a wide player. I think he wants to be through the middle. And I think both for Chris Gordon and Cianats, and Chris Gordon less so now because he is kind of playing centrally, I think Sargent not leaving has actually hindered Cianats' development.
I agree.
Matej Jurasek, who knows what he's all about? We've seen a little bit more of him this season in pre-season and cup games, but I still don't really know if he's any good or not.
Yeah,
but I agree. I think if I'm Manning, I'm looking at that now in terms of productivity. And the thing that concerned me on Saturday was, although Cianats' attacking contributions haven't been there throughout this season, he's worked hard. He's got back. He's helped in the kind of defensive areas, right?
Not sure one. No, I don't think he has. And he certainly didn't against Coventry.
Well, that's my point. I don't think he did against Coventry.
Yeah.
And that was my...
But then, to challenge what we're suggesting now, which is maybe we see Jurasek come in for Ante for the Wrexham game, is Matej Jurasek going to track back? I'm not sure. I thought I was quite impressed with what I saw of Matej Jurasek in the cup game. Yes, we were convincingly beaten. But I was quite impressed with him, actually. He almost scored, I think, a free kick, didn't he? There was a couple of good chances as well out of nowhere where he just kind of popped the shot at a keeper, which I'm a big fan of. Yeah, I like it. And by the way, I want to be clear here. I think I'm not saying Ante. Some of the stuff I'm seeing about Ante is ludicrous. It's ludicrous. He's still young. He's still got time. He's still on a contract at Norwich, as you say. He's a middleman, maybe. And so therefore,
and I think the price tag hinders him, right? If he was £3 million, you don't even think twice.
Maybe I think so, Jack. So let's give Ante the benefit of the doubt, but in our opinion, clearly, let us know your thoughts. We would now like to see Jurasek start against. And
I guess the only if we'd have won that game 3-1, we're not speaking about Cianats, but the attacking output, considering the amount of money that you've got assembled in that, the attacking output hasn't been there. And I guess if you come slightly deeper, Topic, McLean, I thought they were outperformed by the Coventry duo on Saturday. This is interesting now. Yeah. Just jumping ahead slightly. Jacob Wright back in the mix. His suspension's over. Pelle Matson.
I forgot about that, actually.
Also back in the mix.
Pelle Matson is available, yeah.
So does that midfield duo get ripped up?
Well, that is one of the things we're seeing banded about on social media, is maybe it's time for Pelle Matson to be given. I disagree with that, actually. I think, don't get me wrong, I'd love to see Pelle Matson come in.
I'm just saying there's options.
No, there are options. Wright's an option. Pelle Matson's an option. I really do have the opinion that Coventry was an outlier. It was a one-off performance against one of the best teams in the league. We got a point away from home. We had to dig in. It was always going to be about how we defended. And we defended exceptionally well until that last moment. but we defended exceptionally well. We had to soak up the pressure. Did the midfield perform well enough? Probably not. I think it was more just Coventry just played really well. They were a slick, well-oiled machine. Wrexham are not going to be that. So, yeah, I'm not sure I would do any major surgery to the middle of the park. I've been actually quite impressed with the middle of the park. I think that we've looked a lot better with McLean in that mix as well. I suspect what will happen is we'll see the same central midfield start against Wrexham. But I would suggest that if it's not working, Maatsen and Wright will be subbed on fairly early. But I don't know, maybe they won't be. So, certainly, I think Maatsen will come in. But yeah, let's see what Manning does. What I like about Manning is he's no plonker, and he's been very, but I say that because our previous managers, there's been moments where we've gone, what are you seeing there? How haven't you made that substitution? Yeah. How haven't you started this player? So I've got no doubts in Liam Manning at all that he'll see how we performed against Coventry and he'll make the appropriate changes for Wrexham.
And let's not forget, let's bring it back to the point.
Come on.
We picked up a point. We
Yeah,
didn't lose this game.
I know,
we
exactly.
are unbeaten.
Away from
unbeaten
home.
Away from home this season.
Exactly.
The next three, before we get into the Twitter questions, it's Wrexham at home on the Saturday.
Huge.
Then we travel to Stoke, who've had a really good start to the season.
Tough.
And then it's the
first game,
first midweek under the lights on a Wednesday against West Brom.
Yeah.
I feel like I've sat on this podcast throughout this season and gone, this next game is huge. This next game is huge. And like, they are big. But like this next three feels important to establish exactly where we're at.
I think so, Jack. They call it blocks, don't they? And this isn't a complete block, the next three, because obviously you've got the scum in there and someone else after that, less important. But
Wrexham, Stoke, West Brom.
Yeah, but those next three coming up, I think by the end of those, we'll be on 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so 2 games off my 10. By the end of these next 3 games, I would personally like to see more attacking patterns of play. I'm happy with the defence. I'm happy with the defence. The way we defend.
God, I don't think we've ever said that before.
I know. Good point.
Ever.
I am. Actually, no. Let's hang on.
Even under Daniel Farker's
I
period.
am happy with the defence. I am. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah. I don't think we've ever said
Take
that.
a moment for that.
No, because on this podcast, I think we've been doing it for so long, Jack, that we say the same shit all the time. Different points of the season. Oh yeah, here we go. This, da. You're right.
But even under the really successful campaigns, Lambert, Neil, Farker, we've still been wide open.
Yeah, we've always loose at the back, weren't we?
So actually, let's take a moment for that. We're happy with the defence.
Wow.
But this Wrexham game.
But my point is, Jack. Now, throughout these next 3, I want to see more attacking patterns of play. I want to see our wingers on the ball running at the opposition. I thought we saw that early on through Diallo. In fairness, I want to see that back on again. Cov was a one-off. I want to see it back on against Wrexham. Sarge will be back to his goal scoring best against Wrexham. He should be anyway. I think that we need a big. I think the most important thing, regardless of those other 2, this Wrexham game is so important, Jack. And I'm not having people say, it doesn't define our season. Like, I know it doesn't define our season, but it's bloody important because the home crowd dictate the mood, the feeling, and we've seen this. Despite those brilliant away wins or, holding on to it felt like a loss in the end, but, getting a point away at Cov, they're brilliant, but it's the home fans, the home crowd that dictate the mood. We've got to beat Wrexham. And it's not just a kind of a Dean Smith, just do it by any means. I think we need to see also like a really good, encouraging, positive attacking display as well. Do you agree with that?
I do. And I think it's time to get onto the Twitter questions.
Let's do it.
I think we've got some questions regarding the Wrexham game. We'll get onto those in a moment. But let's start with Finley. He says statement, and it's a pretty simple one.
What's he saying?
Medic is getting better after every game. And I agree, Finley. And I think let's swivel this slightly to a Manning point. I think we've already seen quite a few players improve under Liam Manning.
Yes.
And that pleases me.
Yes.
Because maybe barring Kellen Fisher last season, I don't think we saw many players improve under Johannes.
Yeah, but to highlight Medic, I agree with Finley. He's improved week on week. Since that first home game where, some people in the fan base are a bit like, oof, not sure about this. And I think now you can see that he's understanding how the Championship works. I think his physicality is obviously excellent. But I think away from his defending, the blocks, the amount of blocks,
just throwing his body
recoveries, all of that stuff. Actually, it was his assist for Chris Gordon that I was so impressed with against Coventry. So, look, long may Monster Medic continue to improve. He's a great player. Well, I spoke to Mark Frothingham when we signed him, and he came to me actually, and Fozzie said to me, that boy Jakov Medic, good player there, Chris. I went, what do you mean by that, Fozzie? And went, his passing is excellent. You don't get signed for Ajax unless you're a footballer. You don't. Obviously, for all of the historical reasons, right? So, we've signed a player with some pedigree almost there, right? And so I'm really excited about Jakov Medic.
And the thing that I really like, on a slightly softer point, I like how united this team feels. And there was that lovely photo. They were all eating out, weren't they? Kovacevic, Medic, Topic, and who was the fourth? Sinats. And I'm like, I like that. I want to see
players
groups of players. No, just, mingling and enjoying each other's company.
Well, they do that, Jack.
I know, but actually, I think at times before, that's not been there.
Yeah, maybe, maybe.
I thought, I looked at that and I went, oh, nice.
It looks like a group that's more together than previous groups. Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. And actually, that's because, well done to Ben Napper. We've been asking for it for, probably 3 windows now. Root and branch change was required. Yeah. It's been desperate. That's been achieved this summer through that window, signing 12 new players. It's brilliant to see. And Jakov Medic has been one of the beneficiaries of that.
He has. Ryan says, statement, despite the last minute mistake, how much better do we look defensively? Would have lost this game by at least 4 or 5 last season.
Yes.
Have much confidence for the season ahead, although I can see many games being stressful. Just on a point with Ryan here, I heard Connor Southwell say, in Coventry's 7-1 win against QPR, they had less shots than they did against us and less expected goals than they did against us, and we only conceded 1.
Yeah.
It's remarkable football, and I'm sure we'll be on the other side of that at some stages this season. But I agree with you, Ryan. I think there will be stressful moments, as there have already been in all of the games. But at least we know. And how many times last season, right? We said, we've scored 2, we've scored 3, and still not won the game.
Yeah. Yes.
I think if we can flip it in terms of an attacking sense, we will win games, because I can't see us conceding 3 goals on a regular basis.
Yes, and the encouraging thing is away from home, not at home yet, but the encouraging thing is away from home is we're not saying the defence was good and losing 1-0. We're saying the defence was good and they've legitimately been good, and we've either drawn or won a game, right? So I'm really pleased, Ryan, that you've got a bit of perspective there. I feel like some of us probably need to have that highlighted, actually. Let's get some perspective here, because the defence last season was a shit show.
Are you going to remind me of some stats or something?
No. Okay, I don't want to.
I don't want to go over that.
No, I don't want to, but I think I'm pleased that you've brought this up, Ryan. The defence last season was a shit show. There's no escaping it. Everyone knows it. Manning's come in, and the first thing is, of any good team, is you start with a good, well-organised, strong back line. You don't mix and match the defenders, any of that modern day nonsense, right? You stick with those 2 centre backs, develop a partnership. They've done that really well with big man Vlad at the bottom of that spine. It looks stronger. It's compact. It's not, obviously that first home game they were stretched all over the place, but now they're not. And I agree, Ryan. Last season we would have lost that game against Coventry by 4 or 5 goals. There's no doubt about it. So I agree. What about this from James Medlerjack? Who says, statement, strong statement this one, forget the East Anglian derby, brackets for now, the Deadpool derby is next weekend and it's time to get the first home win of the season. Yes, it blooming is, Jays. A point away from home is always a good result if you are winning at home. So this is an interesting point, Jack. We've got that draw on the road. Some people are saying, I wasn't good enough, But actually, that can change quite quickly if we back up an away draw at Coventry, who will be up there this season. There's no doubt about that. With a big, strong away win at home against Wrexham, surely that's a great thing to think about.
Spot on. No, that's how I look at it. I always think, even the lesser teams, and I say that with respect in the Championship, I never think there's a bad point away from home in the Championship. It's not easy. It's a relentless nature. And I think success in the Championship is always based upon just keeping things ticking over. Just momentum. Yeah. The odd draw here and there isn't a bad thing. Norwich, last season, the season before, we'd have huge streaky periods where we'd look great for 3 games and then we'd lose 5 and then we'd look really good. Yeah. That is a mid-table side, right? Good teams just keep performances ticking, even when they're not the best, which we weren't against Coventry, we weren't against Blackburn, we weren't against Portsmouth. We've picked up points. And I think that's really important. But, and we've already alluded to it in this podcast, you have to be better at home. We've not been good enough against Millwall. We've not been good enough against Borough. There have been patches in those games where we've looked good.
Yes.
But it's not been 90-minute displays. And you're spot on with what you said earlier. Mood around a club is, whether you like it or not, based around the home performances. Yes. Because that is when 90% of your crowd, your paying audience,
it's massive,
are watching.
We've got to get that monkey off our back against Wrexham, Jack. We really do. We really need to win. We should win. We have to win. And you'll say, out of respect and this. I don't respect them at all. I don't respect them. I want Norwich City to absolutely smash their back door in, and I really hope that they do. And I think that we could. I really do. I think depending on the side that Manning starts with, I think we could. It's such a big game. My call to arms though here, Jack, is that I really want the Norwich fans, everyone in all 4 stands, we've really got to get behind them.
Yeah.
We really need to do this together. And of course, as Kenny says, it takes 2 to tango. The players need to start well on the front foot, create the atmosphere. We'll then back them, and it will kind of get bigger and better. But yeah, that Wrexham game is so important, Jack, for all those reasons. I'm confident in the defence. Famous last words. I'm confident in the defence. We'll do a good job. It's about that midfield engine room, if you like. Mirko Topic. Mirko Topic. Kenny, the mayor. And then we need to get our wingers more on the ball against Wrexham. So it'll be really interesting to see how we play.
I think there's also a world where maybe the first couple of performances have been slightly kind of over analysed, and it's a bit doom and gloom. Like, we've had 2 home games in the league.
Yes.
We'll forget about that Southampton game. I don't think that actually happened. 2-1 defeats in both. Yes, we've lost. Yes, they weren't ideal, but they weren't stinking. And against 2, really well drilled side of Millwall and a side of Borough who'll be up there this season.
Yeah.
Wrexham, we do need to win.
Yes.
We do need to put in a performance.
Yes.
But actually, the home games haven't been terrible so far.
I agree with that.
Let's not stick the place out.
I think maybe if I remember, I felt a bit naff after the Middlesbrough game, to be fair.
I think the nature of the defeat, yes.
Yes. But it was still so early on. It still is early on because we're still not 10 games in. And again, more praise for Big Mad Vlad here, Jack. Tyler Kirk's statement. Big Mad Vlad is definitely one of the best goalkeepers in the league.
Wow.
And he will be as valuable to our playoff run as Sargent. What about that? Do you agree with Tyler on that, Jack?
I do. And I think, Angus Gunn was a brilliant goalkeeper. Really good. And I think last season kind of taints people's view on him slightly, because I don't think he was at his best. I don't think anyone was at their best last season. But there were games last season where goals go in and you don't even think about it. But, you can look at all of the games in which we've picked up points this season, and Big Mad Vlad has had a thing to say. Coventry, saved a pen against Portsmouth, big saves against Blackburn. Even go back to, games before that. He has looked good in every game.
Yeah.
I still think there's a moment of chaos in there.
Yeah, well,
and I think we're going to have to take that with a pinch of salt.
Yes.
But I like him. I like his character. I like his ability to mould that defence.
Yes.
Cracking signing.
But he's so good. And the saves, like those saves that he's made, they're just epic saves, weren't they? Like, I think it's really difficult as a goalkeeper because, people will say, well, that's their job. Like, they make a save and someone will, that's their job. Whereas a striker scores a goal and it's like, wow, amazing. And it is, right? That's the euphoria of football, right? No one really gets themselves going by a save. Like, it's their job. But what the saves that we're talking about, I don't think we're overreacting here, Jack, for once in our lives. These are big saves. They're not straight at him. Like, they're diving saves. I think at the weekend he made 3 saves inside the box. He's doing that regularly, by the way. these aren't sort of pot shots from distance where, again, you'd expect the goalkeeper to have more time to, get themselves into the right position. These are like reaction saves, like flinging your body at it, they're just brilliant. And I think it's the soft stuff that we're not talking about as much. Like, I know we are talking about his character and things, but it's his ability to control what's in front of him. I do think being vocal helps a goalkeeper. I like the fact that he's not afraid to come out. Of course, there's times where he'll get caught out this season, of course. But again, I'm not going to contradict what I said earlier. What you've brought up there, what we've spoken about, what other people in the media have spoken about, is they've said, he'll be chipped from the halfway line this season. So, there's a moment of chaos in him, But until it's not, that hasn't really happened yet. There was one moment where he was caught in no man's land, the first home game,
wasn't it?
Yeah, but again, I think that was more he had, what else was he meant to do? The defence completely left him in the lurch. He had to make a decision, but there wasn't a moment where I thought, what on earth? Or he has had a chaotic moment, but it's worked out. It's worked out all right. Yeah. So again, let's not think in hypotheticals. But I don't need to defend big man Vlad. I think Norwich City fans are rightly acclaiming him as being one of the best signings of the summer. Norwich City, it's really, really encouraging that Norwich City fans are praising a goalkeeper as much as they are now. I can't remember a time where that's happened in such numbers, so it's really exciting.
Well, I think it's the celebrations, it's the reaction with the fans post match. I'm gutted we didn't get the clean sheet, so we got another little picture of Vlad after the game with his routine celebration. But no, I love him. I think he's great.
Game day 523 says rave. Jovin McCarma looked good off the bench yesterday.
Yeah.
Could be one of the more underrated signings of the summer.
I like him. No, I like him a lot.
Could you potentially start him instead of Sanats or not?
I think he is through the middle. I think he's a great option and he's different. And
I like Jovin. I like the look of him, Jack.
He's gone under the radar because it wasn't a sexy signing. He was from Lincoln, right?
Yeah,
and
true.
Actually, I really like that we've gone into the EFL. We've picked up a really proven, exciting prospect.
Yes.
And we've made him ours. And I think he's tall, he's powerful, he wins headers, his movement's good, he's got a shot on him. He is a very good option to deploy in games.
Yeah.
And you know what? Might even start a few. I don't know. But Jovin McCarma, from what I've seen so far, and yes, it's a very limited sample size, I think is a very good option to have.
And to be clear, I think you actually even started this. This isn't Kyle Lafferty syndrome, where you look to a player on the bench to try to be the difference. I genuinely, every time I've seen him, I've gone strong. Yeah, definitely strong. Much quicker than I thought as well. Much more ready than I thought as well. And by the way, I'm actually almost start having a go at myself here because, there's been times when you sign a player from a club that's, not as developed or, a smaller club or on a league below, you go, well, they might be all right, but we signed them from, this club, so I'm not really expecting much. I look at him and I think, you can impact games, you can make a difference. And by the way, he's a big lump. Yeah. And people will go, well, yeah, but Chris, but like that. But no, but that is important. Yeah. For far too long, we've signed players that are physically miles off it. They are as weak as piss. And Jovin McCarma is super strong. And I think he'll be a brilliant player for Norwich City.
Well, his record at Lincoln was great. I think, and I'm maybe guilty of it as well. We're acting like Lincoln are like National League North. They're league below us, right? And it's not a huge difference. His goal scoring record's good. Yeah. He will get a chance.
Yeah, I really like him. He's a good
option to have.
Yeah, I really, really like him. I'm optimistic. And actually, I'd quite like to see him start some games at some point as well. Jacob Black. Hello, Jacob. In his bio, he says that he's a coffee maker, moustache grower, and Norwich City supporter. Wow. It's a pretty good trio, isn't it? Statement, we were crying out last season to be more defensively solid. Liam Manning is building from the back, and given time, the attacking half will come. Positive point, on to the next. Jacob Black has got some common sense about him, Jack.
I agree 100%. And I think it's interesting what you say about like how opinions can be skewed depending on who you speak to, who you look at, right? So I was driving on Saturday and then went and met some friends for a drink after the game, all Norwich fans, and got there and the mood was really good. The mood was excellent. Everyone was like, I'm delighted
Yes.
with the away performances this season. I can see something building. Amazing. We kept Josh Sargent.
Yep.
Like, the lads that I often socialise with aren't the most optimistic of Norwich fans, right? They like a moan. But the mood was up.
Yeah.
They'd all watched the game. They'd all maybe listened to it on the radio and gone, that is a good point away from home. And it might not have been that way because we conceded in the 96th minute, right?
I just think like I think everyone is like listening. I think clearly these kind of XGA anonymous Twitter stat nerds are kind of almost like making a bit of a, like, maybe they're warping our perception of the overall mood. Because I agree, Jack. Every Norwich fan I speak to in person, on a call, on my, through my business, etc., or whatever, or in person down the street. Oh, hello, Chris. They're positive. Yeah. They're behind Liam Manning. They like what they're seeing on the pitch. Yeah. Of course, there's a couple of things of, I would like to see, I don't know, more from Antis and Apps, or I'd like to see Eurosec, etc. But no, on the whole, it's been good.
Well, and here's one from Toby, right? Who backs up this.
Hello, Toby.
I mean, this is a really bold statement. He says, honestly, that was one of my favourite Norwich games in a while.
Wow.
I don't know why, but I just love how we played away from home against the most informed team in the league.
I'm not sure.
No, I like that.
You loved that,
Toby.
Toby.
Like different things, right? Yakov Medic throwing himself in front of the ball. Harry Darling. Yeah. Maybe that gets Toby going.
Yeah,
well, that's fine.
No, fair enough.
Let Toby enjoy that.
No, that's still, no.
If you enjoy watching Yakov Medic slide tackle Toby, you have that.
If defensive displays get you going. I
enjoy it too. I'm with you, Toby.
It's unique. It's kind of like a weird kink, but if you're into that kind of thing, if you're into kind of letting a side have 27 shots, then fine. And Chris Dayton, friend of the channel, statement. I'm getting increasingly concerned.
Oh, a negative one.
And well,
it was coming.
Well, you think that, Jack?
Okay.
I think it's statement. I'm getting increasingly concerned that the current playing style will not buy time with fans when patience is at an all-time low with the club and expectations have been set from top to bottom. Fans will not accept another season of transition. Big win needed. Chris Dayton, I'll come back to you first of all before you go. That word transition, it's not been used, to be fair, by the club. Well, it's been banned by us on our channel, but the in fairness to the club, they've also said and come forward in the fan forum, etc., that they're not using the word transition. They want to be competing at the top end of the table this season. That's their expectation. So they've not used that word transition. But I do agree with the overriding message there and sentiment of that post, Chris, about patience being at an all-time low. I do agree with that. And you're right, because of the byproduct of not falling back on transition, it means that fans, expect this kind of instant gratification. They expect more, they want it now. It has to be now. And I agree. I think, Chris, this kind of dovetails into our conversation around the home form. I think patience is thin at home, and because we haven't got that first home win yet, it's going to be difficult, right? To kind of feel. It's for everyone to feel really behind it. As soon as you get that first win, Chris Dayton, I think it changes. But what do you think, Jack?
I agree. I don't think this is a season of transition. We've heard it from Atanasio, Napa, Zoe Webber, Liam Manning himself. They are going for the playoffs, and I think anything less than that won't be tolerated. Right? So
won't be tolerated.
No, in terms of that is where the expectation is. They've. In their eyes, supported Liam Manning with the mission. They've given him money. And
he's been given the tools.
Was probably negative in the end, but he's been given the tools. It's been communicated that they want top six. Maybe unlike Johannes, and Johannes certainly felt hard done by. I think ultimately there's a balance to strike here between effectiveness in picking up points and playing style.
Yes.
You need a bit of both.
Yes, I agree.
You need to go away from home and dig in and pick up points.
Yeah.
And you need a bit of sexy football.
Yeah.
I think the Johannes-ometer went slightly towards sexy football at times and not enough effectiveness.
Tries to be too sexy.
You need to balance it, and I think Manning has that. I mean, ultimately, I'm at a point where, yes, I want to be entertained, and I have been from the football I've seen this season. I have been. But results is more important for me. And I think we've got the entertaining. I think we've got the Chris Gollins, the Sargents, the Mirko Topic's. I like watching Medic and Darling defend. I like watching Crescene develop.
The characters.
The young player of Fisher. Kovacevic and goal. I like this team.
Yes.
So, does home form need to improve? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that will be critical. But I think we're on an okay trajectory.
Yeah. There's plenty of green shoots. Oscar says, rave. Bar Harry Darling's mistake, what an absolute colossal performance.
Yeah.
My fave bit must have been when he deliberately scored an own goal in the first half, knowing it was offside, and then shushing the Cov fans. Special mention to Medic as well, who I thought was equally as good. Oscar's obviously buzzing with Harry Darling. I mean, like, how much have we praised Harry Darling on this podcast, Jack? I mean, we're running out of kind of superlatives, aren't we, to praise him? But, I've been so impressed with him. Area looks great. Leadership qualities are so good. Physical, so calm.
Yeah, he's calm.
Like, I've always felt like, right, seriously, as soon as Craig, I'm going to go back to that again. I feel like an old boy now. An old boy now. Back in my day when we had this player, no one competes. Do you know what I mean? Like, and people talk about this like with some of our old attacking players back in the 90s as well. So I am now one of the Bovril boys, clearly. But seriously, since Craig Fleming and Malky left our club, there's always been, I'll be honest, a bit of a donkey at the back. Someone that is a walking yellow card, a mistake that's awaiting to happen. There's always been one of those players there. And now the signings that we've made, and with Oscar, Darling and Medic look like a really great partnership. I mean, Harry Darling.
Yeah, he's been brilliant, and he's got it all. He's stylish. There's a shit house in there.
He's stylish.
Yeah, the way
Have you seen what he wears?
Things.
Oh, right, the way he goes.
Just his aura. Right. His aura's there.
Oh, okay.
And I'll back it up. I had a few people laughing at me last week. You won't be laughing at me come the end of the season. Harry Darling does remind me of Virgil van Dijk.
Don't go there.
No, he does.
Mate, don't go there.
He does, the way he carries himself. He does. He does.
It is the worst comparison.
It's not.
I love that you're coming out with it.
It's really not.
But you've had too much of the Lakers 20%
When Virgil van
off
Dijk
offer.
was at Celtic, he was linked with Norwich City, right? We missed out on him. We have got the new Virgil van Dijk. No, we have. His ability to carry the ball, he always looks like he's in second gear and he's still quicker than everyone else. He can throw a little, something in there. Rugby tackles.
The scary thing is, you're not just saying this for the camera. You actually believe it. No, I know you're not.
I'm not joking. And you won't be laughing come the end of the season.
By the end of the season, you think that I'll be saying that Darling is the next Van Dijk?
I'm not saying the next Van Dijk. I'm saying he will remind you of Virgil van Dijk.
Okay.
Right?
All right.
And I think that's a very fair comparison.
George Hale says, get the bus ready because I can smell Wembley Stadium. Wow. Interesting.
Old chap.
Yeah.
Fraser says, I'm surprised how bad we were on the ball, especially top pitch. He's been really good so far. Sinak should be dropped and used as a backup 9. Hang on, it's not finished yet. Sinak should be dropped and be used as a backup 9. Probably agree with that. Ball retention and creativity were major worries. Cov are very decent, but we made him look like a prime Barcelona. Glimmers of attacking play, but we're struggling to score.
Who said that?
That's Fraser.
Fraser, you speak a lot of sense, Fraser. Fraser's brought something up that we've not spoken about this podcast, and I do think it is a recurring theme so far in these opening 5. We're quite wasteful in possession.
Yeah, I agree. But we were against Cov.
Particularly in midfield. I think in almost all games, Jack, we seem to not be able to kind of retain the ball for large spells.
I agree.
Under Johannes, we were keeping possession, but in pointless areas.
Doing nothing with it.
Yeah. It was just like, between the centre backs. So, right, we're back here again. And it was, so it was possession in pointless areas. What we know about how Liam Manning wants to play is he wants to try to, win those second balls high up the pitch, right? That's one of the things that he likes. So we're not going to have as much possession under Manning. In my opinion, there's no doubt about that. But I think, Fraser, you're right. And that was the thing that I was so frustrated with against Middlesbrough at home, and in other away games. To be fair, we have been so wasteful in possession. We've not been able to just take the sting out of games. Do you know what I mean by that? Take the sting out of games, Jack. And I don't think we've done that so far successfully for large spells, or maybe even small spells, to be honest with you. So I think that is an area. But again, I'm so confident that Liam Manning will know that, and it's something that we can definitely work on against Wrexham.
I agree, and I think, as I said earlier, there's options now. Right back in the fold, Maatsen in the fold.
Yes.
He might switch it up. Look, loads of excitement around the defence, clear concerns around the attacking threat. I think we're all on board with both of those things.
Yeah.
But as we sit here, post-international break, few games in, I think we're still feeling fairly upbeat.
Yeah,
about how things are going.
I think we're feeling good. I think next week when we film this podcast, Jack, if we've not got a win against Wrexham, my mood will be my mood will be very different.
But if we beat
Wrexham,
could be John.
Get the hats on. But no, I won't be getting the hats on. But I think that is an important thing to say. Like I do think it is a bit on a knife edge in terms of like mood because of that home form that we've seen so far, the home results that we've seen so far. Not necessarily the performances, but the results so far at home haven't been good enough. Everyone knows that. We have to get that first win. If we're sitting here this time next week, having not beaten Wrexham, I will be cutting a very frustrated figure.
There we go. Thank you,
Win,
as always, for watching.
Yes.
I was at just a quick word actually, I was at the women's game on Sunday.
Good.
4-0 win against Luton.
Epic win.
They were awesome.
Yeah.
Really, really well drilled. Thought Millie Davis was brilliant. Holly Kennard, she's quick. Very, very quick.
Pace kills.
Strauss was great at the back. So there was nearly 4,000 people at Carrow Road. Yeah. Really important that the women try and get promoted this season. They've been so close last couple. I think this season could be the season.
Go on.
Lakens, Encore.
Yeah.
Saw it all across the South Stand yesterday. You get that in bottles. You can get it on tap in all the hospitality places and the LGR. So watch out for that at Carrow Road. Get yourself a little Encore. It's in all of the bars.
I'm going to say something on this actually, which might get me in trouble, but I'm just going to say it. For the last home game, I saw a few people ask the bar staff for Lakens, and they were like, "What? They're talking rubbish. Lakens is there.
Yeah, it's bottled.
I'm telling you, it's there.
Encore.
I'm telling you, you can buy a Lakens. If they say there is Lakens, right? It's in bottles or it's in cans.
I think it's LGR cans as well. Yeah.
So like it is available. You just need to say look harder.
Yeah.
Like they should know by now it's there.
And if you keep buying it, then they'll get it the LGR on tap in the line
that's
of
the
ultimate
goal.
I will see you next week.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it. I think.
Well, hang on. Are you not coming to the Wrexham home game?
No, I will, but I mean on
that's
the podcast.
This week. Oh right. Okay.
Well, I'll see all of you at Carrow Road on Saturday. Thanks very much for watching.
Monster Medic.
Take care. Bye bye.